Welcome back on the AM show. Just taking you down memory lane, taking you way back into time to let you see a bit of what we stood for. But you see, watching those just got me reflecting. And Nkrumah said, we want to demonstrate, we want to show that the black man is capable of managing his own affairs. Have we proven that? Have we proven that? That's the question. It's not to say I am denigrating. I am black. I am brown, if you like, as the term black and white and all of that. But I know through school and everything that I am more than capable. But our leadership, have they proven that the black man indeed is capable of managing his own affairs? Where we are, have we proven that? Well, let's come back into the studio. We're joined by lawmaker for Bole Bamboy, Yusuf Sulemana. He joins the conversation. Good morning. You're looking colorful.
Ben, how are you?
This morning.
Good.
Very colorful.
Of course, I should be in Ghana colors.
Yes, and you
just
are.
the black that is not there, the black side that's not there. You see that.
But I've got them to do something in the middle
Sure.
there.
The next thing to do is to make sure that I get the black star in somewhere. We are good to go.
Some people say the black star of Ghana can't be found anymore, that the star has left.
It's hanging around somewhere.
It's hanging around
Yes,
somewhere.
we'll bring it back.
I would ask for your quick reflections on Ghana at 67. We are 67 years old. But I'd like to find out from where you sit. Let's stick to the Fourth Republic, yeah? Your side has ruled. The other side has also ruled. The black man is capable of managing his own affairs. Have we done that?
If you say the black man, to some extent, yes. And there are countries where the black man has been able to govern themselves very well. Take Rwanda, for instance. They're going through war. At the end of the day, today is a proud nation, a nation that is doing very, very well.
We are not a proud nation.
They are blacks.
Ken Ofori-Atta said we were a proud people, so you choose your words carefully.
A proud people who, today as we speak, about 8.4 Ghanaians go to bed on empty stomach.
You mean 8.4 million?
Million Ghanaians
Right.
go to bed on empty stomach. How can we call ourselves a proud nation? I mean, there are issues that we have to look at very well, and we must be honest with ourselves. Yes, we have attained independence, but I don't think where we are today, that's where we wanted to be. Today, we cannot even take decisions on our own. Decisions that majority of us believe that is the way to go. We are unable to take such decisions.
We are talking about LGBTQ.
Of course. And so for me,
we'll get there. We'll get there.
Independence, good, but there's so much to talk about. And whether or not indeed we have benefited from the independence that we've attained, it's a debatable issue.
You don't think we've benefited from it?
Where we want to be, that's not where we are. And that's a fact.
Yeah, but your side, the NDC, has also had power, so you've also contributed to our not being where we want to be, right? You admit that?
We can compare the two administrations. And if we compare the two administrations, we'll be able to tell who has really taken us back. Okay? We're progressing very, very well, even though we have some challenges. But somewhere along the line, Ghanaians decided that they wanted to test somebody. And in his own words said, test me, try me and see. They have tried him. Today, where are we? This was a man who promised us Ghana beyond aid. Today, we are begging everywhere. And nations are rejecting our requests, even when we are looking for loans, because of the way we have managed our economy. And so if you ask me, yes, in the midst of two blind people, or in the midst of people, one with one eye is better than those without eyes at all. I'm not saying that the NDC is perfect, but if you want to compare the records of the NDC and the MPP, clearly there's a party that will struggle to build the nation and they come and take us back. And that's their records. So if you ask me, yes, we have our challenges, but the NDC has done better than the MPP. And that is why today, as we speak, in terms of our debts, I think that we are leading in the West African sub-region. There's no country that is owing more than us. And that for me is a sad situation, Ben.
Independence. At independence, right around the time of independence, if you looked at our economic situation, our social situation, what we had, resources, and what we could have done, we were better placed to succeed. You know, especially in the United States and other places, you have a yearbook, and sometimes they would even select the most likely to succeed, the most likely to do this. At that time, we're the most likely to succeed compared to Malaysia.
Agreed.
Compared to South Korea.
Agreed.
Compared to Singapore. Yet now, we are 67, and you look at those countries and where they've got to. They are light years ahead of us.
Agreed.
And we are where we are. And interestingly, even comparatively, the natural resources we have, small though we are, we have more than they do. Still, we are where we are. So this whole concept of independence, what does it mean to you? And maybe should we change our concept of independence as a nation?
And this is a very important question you asked. To be honest with you, when I was driving here, that was what I was thinking about. That in terms of mineral deposits, we are blessed. We have lithium now, we have gold, we have diamond, we have salt, we have clinker, everything is in this country. Timber. Now we have river bodies that we can even do irrigation. What is not in this country? Virtually everything is in this country. So we are a blessed nation. The problem is leadership. These countries that you have mentioned, they don't have what we have in terms of natural resources, but they've been able to manage the little they have efficiently. So our problem is not about the natural resources that is deposited everywhere in this country, but it's about our ability to manage. And that is where I think the problem is, leadership. And I've said it here. You have a party that will come in and build the nation, sacrifice so much, thinking about the future, and then another one comes to deplete everything and takes you back. And that is my worry. I have spoken to quite a number of NDC who say that, why is it that anytime the NDC is in government, you are so careful, you don't spend the way you spend for party people to enjoy. You are very, 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 very meticulous, and you are thinking about the nation.
But you are heading on slippery territory now.
No, I'm not. I'm just
also been. I know. I don't want us to get political, but you've also been reckless on so many accounts. I can enumerate them right here, right now. So I think we should move away from. If you say one is better than the other, in
exactly
certain
my
ways,
point.
Fine. But
exactly my point.
You've also been considerably reckless. Our economy has been mismanaged somewhat by your end. Our power situation, you dealt with it, but we were in it for. So I don't think we should go there.
No,
because some of the things
but I'm not going there. I'm just trying to compare two administrations. And I'm saying that even though both
but you said always when this is in power, always I don't agree.
I can justify that. I can justify that. That anytime the NDC was in government, things were better. And anytime the MPP comes in, they destroy everything.
When the NPP started this term, the first term from 2017, you could say, yes, you would say that on the back of an IMF program, and the projections were already that the economy would grow at such rate.
Exactly.
So they came and benefited.
Yes.
But they had progressive growth for a while.
The World Bank country director
did they have that growth or not?
To say that, look, you are declining. From 2017, after the economy was doing well because of the projections that the NDC has made, or the investment the NDC had made in 2016, things were going on well. Thereafter, they were supposed to now manage well. They were unable to manage, and things started declining until COVID set in. Okay? And so all I'm saying is that, yes, two political parties in this country have been governing this country for some time now. And I'm saying this on record, that in terms of the management of the economy, looking at the two political parties, the NDC is better than the MPP. And that's all that I'm trying to say. I'm not saying that the NDC, we are angels. No, we might have also made mistakes. But if you want to compare the two political parties in terms of the way they manage this economy, you would give credit to the NDC. That's what I'm saying.
You look at Ghana now and a Ghana beyond aid. You made mention of Rwanda and how that far they've come. I have said, and I state this unequivocally without fear or favor, that if I were leading Ghana, we'd probably take a pause on this whole Independence Day celebration, maybe for a year or two or more. Magufuli, of blessed memory, did it in Tanzania. Actually, the sums of money they saved from that, they pumped it into other things. I remember once, I think after he was gone, the lady who took over also did same, and I think at a point it was invested in roads, at a point it was invested in school buildings, school facilities and all of that. Because I ask, at the end of a day like this, the pomp, the pageantry, the celebration, does it change where we are? Could we mark this in a simplified way, maybe at the Jubilee House, in a memorial rather than the huge sums we spent? It is significant, yes. The people in the eastern region will say it will bring some economic activity to them, yes. But in the end, what does this do? I feel we keep celebrating independence when in fact we have no business talking about the word independence because we are not.
But I agree with you. I agree with you to the extent that if you look at the amount of money we use in celebrating independence, I think that we could do without that huge sums of money being wasted, if you ask me. Now, the president is going to the eastern region, and they're going to transport horses, they're going to transport all sorts of things. Go and beautify the place just for some 30, 40, or maximum 2 hours program. And then we are packing all the things back. Some people will say that, oh, that's how some others also make their money. But should that be our focus? I think that the amount of money that would have been used in celebrating the anniversary could be used to provide, pay for the debt that we owe at Kolebu so that people who have kidney problems are able to survive.
You mean the renal center,
the renal
dialysis
center, yes,
machines.
dialysis machines. I've heard the professor there or the doctor there lamenting. Not any huge sums of money, but what are we seeing? We are spending this money to go and celebrate Independence Day when citizens are dying at Kolebu. And so I agree with you that if even we wouldn't say that we are cancelling it, but as and when we think that there's a need for us to pause and then use the money to do other things, we should be able to take that decision. And so I agree with you.
Now, looking at this, let me make it clear that technically, I'm not against what is being done. For example, it's being moved around different regions. That's a beautiful thing. It is. But I'm looking at what we are expending on it and whether, it's like being constrained and then saying that while I'm constrained, I have 1 cedi, but I want to live a lifestyle like that of someone who has 100 cedis. You will find yourself in hot waters. But moving away from all of that, independence is upon us. Some have said sometimes, and I've said a time without number, imagine Ghana at 67 as a human being. You would likely have pensioned off.
Sure.
I can say, whether you lived a life worth something which has left you with something to fall on in your old age and all of that. When you picture Ghana at 67, what are the pluses and the minuses, the pros and the cons, the good things we've achieved and the bad things we should shy away from?
I think, Ben, we have achieved some good things. Since independence, we've been on our own in terms of our governance administration. We've been able to, yes, we had some coups. If you take the Fourth Republic up to date, we've been able to demonstrate to the whole world that we can politically manage ourselves. And so you realize that from one political party handing over to another political party in a very peaceful manner, it's not easy to get that. And you will agree with me that some countries have not been able to do that. And so if we have been able to do that, I think that we should be happy with that. In terms of infrastructure, we haven't done badly. There are certain things that you see in this country, and you go to other countries, and you wonder whether it's a sovereign nation. For instance, go to our airports. I don't want to mention other countries, and go to other neighboring countries' airports, and then you know that we have come far. Our health administration, in terms of provision of health services, I know that some countries are coming in here for treatments. I know some people from other countries come into Korle Bu and other, even private hospitals here in this country. And so when it comes to that, we have done well. Our educational programs, I know some citizens from other countries also come to Legon and other places for education, even though we also go to other nations. But I do not think that we go to the countries where a lot of their people also come here. No, that's not the case. And I think that we are doing very well when it comes to that. So these are some of the positives. Now the negatives have been the fact that we've not been able to manage our financials. All these years, it's all about going to the IMF, going to World Bank, and today as we speak, the last time I checked, in 2023, we had borrowed huge sums of money. We had borrowed huge sums of money, and then we are unable to even pay our debts. And that for me is a serious matter. So a nation that is supposed to be independent should also be able to manage its finances and manage them very well. But that's not what we are seeing. Again, in terms of our infrastructure, even though I say we have done well, but we could have done better. There are other areas, for instance, our road sector. Many farmers, when they are able to harvest, they find it difficult to bring their goods to the markets. And so we have a situation where farmers farm and get nothing out of it. And that for me is something we have to also look at. All the agricultural programs that we have rolled out, we need to be holistic in terms of ensuring that we're able to link our road networks to the farm gates and to the markets. If we do that, we'll be able to improve upon our agricultural activities and let our farmers benefit from whatever farming they are doing. Today, as we speak, Galamsey has come to, as it were, there's a threat when it comes to the issue of Galamsey in this country. Our cocoa farms are going off, and our water bodies are also threatened. Where are we going? That's the question to ask. And so these are some of the negative things that we think that we should be able to look at and then work on them. And then the issue of corruption also comes to mind. In all this, we haven't done well when it comes to corruption. The last time I checked, in 2023, about 9.6 billion Ghana cedi was lost to this state as a result of corruption. How do we move forward if we are unable to solve this issue? And it seems to me that these days, we don't even talk about corruption. The president was in parliament.
But you know the media talks about it. We've been talking about it incessantly. The fact that the president failed to mention corruption does not mean there's no talk about it. We talk about it on this network practically every day. In every week, you would have some talk about it.
When I say we don't talk about corruption, I'm talking about the fact that those who are supposed to lead the fight against corruption, not talking about corruption. Yes, the media is doing its part. The opposition is doing its part. Civil society organizations are doing their bit. But it takes leadership to be able to fight corruption. Now, let me remind you, in 2017, one of the issues that was well articulated in the 2017, in the 2017 State of Nation address was the issue of corruption. Then the second year, 2018, some few statements were made about it, and thereafter, nothing was said about corruption since then up to date. You can go and check the records. And so where are we going when we cannot, come together as a people to fight this canker? Today, we are told that state institutions such as the Special Prosecutor's Office will fight corruption, and we have heard from he himself the kind of frustration that he's going through. And so you ask yourself whether or not we are committed to the fight against corruption. And so it's one of the weaknesses that we have to look at, and it takes leadership to be able to address some of these issues. When somebody is alleged to have committed a crime related to corruption, our leadership should not be quick at defending the person. Take, for instance, the issue of Cecilia Dapa. When Cecilia Dapa was asked to go home, the statement that followed was that, I have trust in her, I don't think she will do anything bad. That for me was not appropriate, because it was just alert those who were going to preempt them that, look, this is the way I want the outcome to be. And that's exactly what we have seen. State institutions that are supposed to help in the investigation are rather frustrating each other. And so the issue of corruption, we haven't done well there, and so we need to also look at it. Because we're not doing very well in the management of our economy, we sell imports so much. I can say that 80 to 90% of what we consume in this country is imported. 67 years, we should be able to produce most of the things that are very basic, yet we are not able to do that.
Let's look at that from your end. I don't want it to get political, but when the NDC was in power, how much did you add in terms of that same production you talk about? It's been known that whether it's the third industrial revolution, the fourth industrial revolution, the fifth, or whatever it is, because now we've gone past even mechanics and we're looking at technology in different spheres. How much did your administration, you've had what? Rawlings, 8 years, Atta Mills, Mahama, another 8 years. You've shared the spoils in the Fourth Republic. How much have you added to Ghana's capacity in that regard?
So, this is a very important question. Let me just start with Mahama's administration. Mahama and his cabinet realized that there was a need for us to reduce our importation of some specific products. For instance, sugar. Also, again, rice, poultry, and others. And so what they did was to come out with a deliberate policy to boost the production of these commodities. Hence, the issue of Commended Sugar Factory. It has come with its problems, but that was the vision, to ensure that we are able to produce more sugar in this country. Then we don't import more.
I like the way you got to that point and you said it has come with its problems, and then you quickly moved on. The Commended Sugar Factory never produced any sugar for us, did it?
It did.
After investing about 30 million, is it euros into that? It never produced any sugar till now.
They produce, yes, so you could say till now, God, now we should have been producing huge quantities of it, but we are not producing.
Have you seen the factory lately?
Yeah, I've been there last year.
Last time we went there,
last year.
It's literally a rust bucket. That's what that place is.
Yeah, I agree with you. But that's the vision. And it also brings on board the issue of continuity. When one government starts something, another government doesn't want the one that started it to take credit, and then all sorts of things are happening. Again, in the area of rice production, the NDC government under John Dramani Mahama imported so many combined harvested. And where I was working, SM Bank, we are giving loan facilities, in some cases interest-free, to so many rice farmers in this country. And we are encouraged other processors to set up their manufacturing or processing factories in this country. Avnash in Tamale and many other ones were encouraged to set up, and some individuals, some indigents were also supported to go into rice processing and cultivation. And so that was also a way to add up to the production levels of rice in order that we reduce the importation of rice. Poultry, we had what we call the broiler revitalization program, which was also introduced under John Dramani Mahama. And under that project, we were supposed to gradually reduce the importation of poultry. It started very well before he left power. And so you cannot blame him for not achieving what he intended to achieve. Again, Ben, you know we still import shoes and other things into this country. There's a shoe factory in Kumasi. It was John Dramani Mahama who revived it when it was totally collapsed. And so at that point, we're even selling shoes and other, shoes to the military. The military and other services were supposed to buy shoes from that factory. It's collapsed. Gihawk was also revived by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Again, antiretroviral drugs, okay? The NDC government under John Dramani Mahama supported pharmaceutical companies in this country to produce these drugs so that they can even export it. So it was also to increase capacity in terms of production. And so if you ask me what we have done, this is just a little of what the NDC had done in that respect.
Do you know my response to you? And my response to you will come on the back of what Nkrumah said, which we've put out on social media. Today, we must change our attitudes and our minds. We must realize that from now on, we are no longer a colony, but free and independent people. Nkrumah said that. And that is why I feel, especially in this Fourth Republic, because we've had the advantage of a global village and everything in between, both your party and the MPP, NDC and MPP, you're going for low-hanging fruit. These things you've spoken about, yes, but we could do so much more. How about adding value to our gold?
Yes.
Making trinkets or something out of them, because they buy your gold, take it out there, fashion something out of it, and you pay 3-4 times more what you would ordinarily sell that for. Why are we not doing that? So cocoa. No, let me make these points. Cocoa. Cassava. Cassava, one of the easiest things. I think a few years ago, about 2 years ago or so, we're the world's largest exporter of yam. Many people don't know that. What did we do with that? I wouldn't be surprised if we slipped from that. We're one of the world's largest producers of gold. How are we monetizing that? Which is why even this whole lithium bit, I'm not excited about it, because looking at we are following the same things. Other countries are getting 30, 40% plus royalties. We're happy with 10% because guess what? It's better than what maybe it was yesterday. We are not thinking. Look at energy, power. No country can make serious progress without sustainable electricity. We've gone back to where we used to be. We're facing problems. Now, whenever I leave home, I get worried because you may come home and some things may not be the same. Basic things, toothpicks, shoes, you mentioned, glass, some electronics. Back in the day, Nkrumah, Akasanoma, those little radios. I remember, I've seen some before, listened to some before. So if you fast forward 50 years plus and you can't do what you were doing back then, does that make any sense to anybody? Jute bags. We import jute bags. I don't know.
Yeah, so you have listed quite a number of very interesting products that we could do on our own. And let me just take you back to the first one you mentioned, cassava. Again, and these are the records are there. We tried to pilot a cassava project. Cassava in ethanol production, cassava in flour production, cassava in so many other products. And so what we did was to look at where cassava grows very well, and we have selected Damongo. As I talked to you, we are giving an interest-free facility to somebody to do high-quality cassava flour around that area. He started in 2015, 2016. He cultivated the cassava. He started with the construction of the building. Then the NDC left power. Go and look at it. It's been abandoned. Again, you go to...
You've also abandoned projects, haven't you?
Those projects were abandoned, could not be perhaps private sector projects.
So what is different?
Okay.
Because they will also tell you, like with
In any case, who have not abandoned
the
projects.
housing facility in, why do I just forget the name? Saglimi. They would also tell you that there were issues. You guys will always have.
No,
these
when I say there were
to
issues,
abandon
let me tell
projects.
what I'm saying is this, and the difference is this. I have come to take a facility from you to go and do something that you are interested in. Now I've met all the conditions. I have started. Somewhere along the line, there's a change of government, and then you decide not to disperse the money. What wrong have I done in this case? That is different from where government is building a project, and then government says that there are issues with it. Even that, you don't stop the project. Even if there are issues with the project, you don't stop it. Go ahead with the project and deal with the issues. Now you've abandoned Salagami. What has happened to it? So if you ask me...
You also abandoned projects. What has happened
Tell
to
me,
them?
which project have you abandoned?
Oh, there was a housing, one of those that comes
Where?
to mind. A housing facility, this affordable housing. In the Ashanti region. Have you
Where?
forgotten the Kumasi?
Under whose administration?
John, you asked me a question. John Ejekum Kufuor started it. It rolled over. The Mills administration, moving forward, didn't complete it. I think it's in the Ashanti region. It was started by John Ejekum.
You can be specific because
how more specific do you want to be?
No, because
it was started by John Ejekum Kufuor.
You mentioned Sagami, and
it came into the NDC administration,
yes.
and it wasn't completed. I think it's this Nanado.
Now the good news is that one of the policies of the NDC, and for that matter, John Mahama, going into this 2024 election is that we're going to ensure that all abandoned projects are completed before he even brings on board new ones. Is in our manifesto. When it is launched, you see it.
So will you also complete the National Cathedral?
No, that's not a project that we're going to continue. Because
are you aware of how much of our taxpayers' money has gone into it?
No. Look at the difference.
No, are you aware of how much of our taxpayers' money has gone into it?
The difference is that ab initio, we said it was not a project worth undertaking. So we have stated our position clear. In any case, if we were to complete it, we won't complete it as a cathedral. That I can assure you. We can't leave that pit there, that most expensive pit there forever. It will be completed, but not as a cathedral. That I can assure you.
What's the plan? To use it as what? Hospital?
Yeah, there are some schools of thought that are saying that just expand it and link it to the, what is it called, Ridge Hospital, okay? So that it becomes part of it. Now some are saying that, why don't you develop it into a governance institution where it can even train parliamentarians and other foreigners, and then we are able to make money out of it. So there are so many schools of thought that are coming out with ideas. But I can tell you that the former president and the incoming president, John Dramani Mahama, is aware of it, and he has whispered to me, I won't say it here, what he intends to do with it. We are not going to abandon it, but we are not also going to use it as a cathedral. That is very clear. And so I'm saying that he has promised that going forward, abandoned projects will be completed. And very soon when we come out with our manifesto, in fact, he has already said this on air, and so it's not something that we are running
away from. Someone is alluding to what I was mentioning. Raphael Boateng says, good morning, the NDC abandoned the Asokori Mampong affordable housing project. I think that's what he is alluding to.
Yeah, so
there's specificity.
So I've given you a response that we are going to now onwards, even MPP projects that we think they are worth it, we will complete them.
But that's the whole point,
that's
right?
A change.
It's always about whether you think it is worth it, and then you will look at the number of them, and for some reason they will not be worth it.
No.
And the taxpayers' money will be expended on all of these gargantuan projects, and will keep bleeding.
Ben, sitting from, where I sit, I was privileged to have some information about some projects that were abandoned when we were dealing with the Public Accounts Committee reports. And then it turned out that building a new structure will be more economical and financially beneficial than those abandoned projects. In this case, you don't say because you have promised that you are going to bring up all abandoned projects, whether it is worth it or not, you do it. No. And here, we're not going to be, look, there will be a committee, there will be a board, and all these things put in place, and technical people will have to assess these projects. If it is not worth it, whether it's an NDC project that was started or an MPP project that was started, if it is not worth it and we think that we should do a new one, why not? And so it's a promise that the NDC is coming up with. And I tell you that this is novelty because it has never happened anywhere in this country where there's a deliberate attempt to ensure that all abandoned projects have been completed, even before new ones are started.
Right. For those of you watching, I'd like to find out from you what your take is on Ghana's independence. How independent are we? You know, on a scale of 1 to 10, how independent do you think we are? You can send me a message on Facebook. We're streaming live there, Joy News on Facebook. On a scale of 1 to 10, how independent do you feel Ghana is on Independence Day? And speaking of the National Cathedral, it should have been, you know, today, the 6th of March, that it would be. 2 years ago, from what I hear, and then now, likely today, we should have been launching, commemorating, or actually bringing to bear that opening ceremony for the national.
But what has changed? We'll be there. We'll be there for Easter.
Yours is a different.
No.
Black wine.
I'll be there. I'll be there.
People say you'll be there too.
We'll wait for president to come and commission it.
You know that commissioning is not going to happen. What are you going to commission? So you are just there for propaganda? Is that
no, it's not propaganda.
But what is it?
This is a man who promised us. His Minister of Finance came to Parliament and promised us and said that today, 6th March 2024, they will commission it. One would have expected that they will come out to say that for A, B, C, D reasons, we are not commissioning it. So for us, we are going there and we are waiting for them to come and commission it.
Let's move away from that.
We caution them and they refuse.
Let's move away from that. LGBTQI+. You passed the bill in Parliament.
Sure.
And now there's been a whole lot matter taken to the Supreme Court. Finance Ministry speaking. The Attorney General has spoken in the past. And then we hear the comments of the President to the diplomatic corps. And now he says the thing hasn't even reached his desk. What do you make of that? I just want to start from there before I bring in specifics.
Yes, so Ben, we have 3 arms of government. The legislature, the judiciary, and the executive. And the architecture of our constitution has given each of these, arms a function to play. Now, when it comes to the enactment of laws, there is the need for some kind of if you like, collaboration to be able to have a law completely passed. And that is where we are today. That there is a private member motion that was moved, that there's the need for us to legislate to ensure that the practice of LGBTQ in this country is abandoned or is frowned upon.
Regulated, I think.
Regulated. Now, you don't do it on your own. You have to go to the Ghanaian people to solicit their views. And so one of the bills that really, received so many memoranda and what have you, is this LGBTQ bill, bill. So many stakeholder meetings. And that was why it took us a very long time to be able to pass it. And I can tell you, if you were to do
it took you 3 years?
I said
4 years thereabouts.
Yes.
3 to 4 years to get it through.
To get it done.
Because I think it's 2021?
2021. It started in 2021. So I can tell you that a lot of consultations went into it. At the end of the day, Ghanaians, our constituents, said pass it. That's what we wanted. And now we have passed it. On 28th February or so, the law was passed.
Right.
Now, it is for the president to give his assent. And even before the thing got to the president, he had already expressed some reservations. Wait and even receive it and see the content of it. Now, don't forget that if the president receives a bill and he doesn't want to assent to it, what he normally will do is to take it to the Council of State. That's the process. The Council of State will look at it after he had given his reasons. And then it comes back to us in Parliament. We now have to look at the reasons why he's saying he wouldn't sign and see if we can amend it to suit what he wants and then take it back. He doesn't have that absolute right to say that I won't sign it, even though he's an executive president. Now,
but I don't think to be fair to him, I don't think he's just suggested that I will not sign this and take it away. I will not sign it. That's not what
he's done
suggested.
That before.
But in the 3, I know you are referencing those 3 other bills that are before him. But he has given reasons, hasn't he?
No,
he has said that there's going to be a draw on the consolidated fund. For example, with LGBTQ, part of what has been said in the past is that if you bring me private members' bills, I don't necessarily agree with him, but if you bring me private members' bills, and it's going to pose a draw on the consolidated fund. For example, your people are going to go to prison in some instances, and if they do, it's the state that is going to have to take care of their feeding and their livelihood while in prison. Our prisons are bursting at their seams. So those are the reasons.
So that's one-sided. We are looking at it from one side. Okay, the other side is that the negative impact of the practice of that act could also lead to some costs. And nobody has...
You're talking of in the health sector?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, and nobody has even looked at the two to see which one is more expensive than the other. But we are serving a people, and the people are saying that this is what we wanted. And so on the basis of that, I think that the president should be signing the bill into an act. Now, what are we seeing? That somebody is in court, and so they are waiting for the court to pass judgment before. We're all in this country when somebody had gone to court on the issue of e-levy, but the president hadn't signed it.
I knew you'd go there.
The truth of the matter is that the president doesn't want to sign this. And he doesn't want to sign this for so many reasons, some personally known to him. But what we do know is that the Minister of Finance has not convinced me sitting here that the cost they're talking about is the main reason why they don't want to sign it.
They're saying that we may lose some of these funding from the IMF, from the World Bank.
Yes, so
there are crucial areas, for example, for the World Bank and support that they are giving. And mind you, Virginia Palmer, the American ambassador, has hinted that it may be difficult, for example, for her to go out there and get funding, support for Ghana on some trade deals and others, if this is our stance. You've heard her say that?
Yeah, Ben. So when? They said we should suspend it. Suspend it and go back to it when? That's the question. The reason is this. Since independence, we've always been taking loans from these people. So if we continue to take loans from them, they're saying that once you take loans from us, don't legislate on this matter. So when are we going to now pass that law? This is the time for us to bite the bullets. And I thought that if we reduce corruption, I believe that there's what it takes in this country to be able to manage ourselves. We may not be doing it the way we want to do it, but we should be able to manage this economy. Look at the corruption that is going on everywhere. Look at the amount of money that they're supposed to spend from 20... Look, we have oil wells. What are we doing with the money? Royalties are paid to us. What are we doing to our money? That money? Look, they met a 250 million. They are stating issues like which amount of money. Let me see. They are saying that we are going to lose. This is the bill. They are saying that we are going to lose 600 million budget support, and then also 250 million for the financial stability fund. Then the sinking fund, we had 250 million in that account. Where is the money? Where is the money that we left in the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund? About $270 million. Where is that money? The stabilization fund was having $250 million in that account. Where is that money? These are some of the things that we are talking about. You have come to meet money in these accounts. You have spent everything, and today you are saying that you need money to be able to govern, and that if we don't get the money, we shouldn't be able to take decisions on our own. I think that what we are seeing today is mismanagement. Look, the NDC went to IMF, and the IMF deal had given us some amount of money. They alone, when they took over in 2017, benefited at about amount of 637 million out of that whole amount that the NDC had gone to contract with the IMF. Where is that money? These are some of the things that we should be talking about. And nobody should tell me that we cannot manage ourselves without these loans that they are talking about. Many loans were collected, and we have abused it. We have not been able to use it the way it's supposed to be used. We should go ahead and sign this bill into an act, and we should be able to raise money within this country. Now, somebody will say, "Oh,
it's easy for you to say that." The president now, then. You see, you just said we should be able to raise money within this country and all of that. it's not just saying it with your mouth. The current president said it. Yet sikaso. Sikani na yehia wo mai mo ya wo haya today. Look at us. So it's not about the rhetoric of things and saying that we have the money or we can do it. The reality is this. We are beholden to some of these Bretton Woods institutions, the IMF, the World Bank, and the rest. Some would say that logically, nowhere in the IMF program we've signed does it say that one of the conditionalities is legislating or not legislating on LGBTQ. But as some would also say, if you are willing to not, there's no country that doesn't need aid, but if you are willing to not manage your affairs and you will depend on entities, countries that legitimize this, you should also be willing to pander to them.
And you see, what we have failed to also appreciate is this. In 2015, 2016, we have discovered more oil wells. We should ask ourselves, how are we managing this?
We've gone beyond...
No, Ghanaians should be asking questions. How are we managing this money? The taxes that we have received so far, how are we managing these taxes? The loans that we have taken so far, how are we managing those loans? The heritage fund that the MPP inherited, how was it managed? The sinking fund that had left the $250 million in that account, now it's not there. How have we utilized it? These are the questions that we should ask. If we ask these questions and answers are provided, then we'll be able to tell whether or not we can manage ourselves or not. We should be able to stop the corruption that we are seeing, whether it's under NDC or under MPP. We should be able to stop it. Once we stop these things, we should be able to manage our affairs without going to the IMF or anywhere. The problem we have in this country is that we are running away from the truth. The truth is that we should work to stop corruption. Everywhere in this world, people are working hard to see how they can reduce corruption. We have a situation where you just pass laws and think that the laws will wake up themselves to prevent people from doing the bad things. Those laws must be applied. And that's what we are failing to do. Okay. I believe that if we do that, there's money in this country. I will never support the parties of LGBTQ in this country if it means even losing my seat.
Okay, so
I won't accept it.
This matter, we have just a few minutes to go. This matter has gone before the Supreme Court. Interestingly, the president, a day before the matter was taken to the Supreme Court, actually could look into his crystal ball and say that that would happen. It did happen. If the Supreme Court, for example, gives a determination and says it is unconstitutional, what are you going to do as parliamentarians? Will you still go forward with your 2/3 and try to change the course of that?
We'll do it.
Is that what you will do?
Some of us will ensure that we push this to the letter.
Will you get that 2/3 majority?
No, so it was unanimously passed. And so those who are pretending will now see them. So if I were in the position of the speaker, if the Supreme Court says that, look, it's unconstitutional and we want to go back to it, we will want everybody to now vote publicly. So we know that indeed we are speaking for the good people of Ghana and not just for ourselves. I know that 99.9% of my people in the Bole Bamboi constituency are in support of the legislation. And so I should not disappoint them and I shouldn't disappoint myself because there's something that I will not budge out. And so for me, if the Supreme Court, and we are hearing certain things, we don't want to speculate, but you see there's some kind of arrangement, it goes to the Supreme Court, it's delayed for a very long time. Some are even suggesting that delay it so that somewhere somewhere October, November, you then pass it. By which time you have received these monies from these people, that is also deceit. Let's be frank with the people and tell them that take your money and then we take our law and then practice what we're supposed to practice.
Well, I wish it were that simple. But let me just acknowledge, I asked you to send in responses. You've sent them. So let me acknowledge them and then I'll come to you with my final question and we're gone. So Asante Francis Jr. says, Happy Independence. Samuel says, Happy Independence Day. Please tell our leaders we need Ghana back. Then there's Raphael Boateng. Good morning. The NDC abandoned the Asokore Mampong affordable housing project. But then TK Mensa, on a scale of 1 to 10, I will score Ghana's independence at 5. Malik says, on a scale of 1 to 10, I will score Ghana 2 out of 10. Samuel Vegas Owusu says 1 out of, okay, I will score Ghana 4 out of 10. This one says 2 out of 10. Joseph also says 2 out of 10. Samuel says Ghana only enjoyed its independence under Kwame Nkrumah. Raphael, okay, so that's a long message. Odogu, what's your score? You say 2 out of 10. Then there's Kobe Kona, who says he would score Ghana 0 out of 10. Yeah, so those are the stories there. My final bit for you. You remember John 11:35? I know you are. But John 11:35, some would say Jesus wept, others would say, and Jesus wept. Lady Al-Hassan, the vetting from yesterday, Japamersa Lady Al-Hassan, she was asked about Ayawaso West Wuogon and everything, and she got very emotional. But
Japamersa Lady Al-Hassan.
No, Japamersa and Lydia were all there yesterday.
Yes.
But Lady Al-Hassan was asked about Ayawaso West Wuogon and what happened. And she says she was bereaved at the time and all that, so she wasn't really. And some people felt that was a bit curious. Respond to issues of what happened. And Lydia literally wept like Jesus, but didn't give people what they expected. Just a quick thought on the vetting, and we're out of it.
So the vetting went on very well. I was there. Now the structure is that if you are a leader of a committee and a minister responsible for a particular sector where you supervise is coming, you have to appear to also ask questions. So I rank for trade, industry, and tourism. And so I was there to ask Mesa some few questions. One of the questions I asked him had to do with the fact that unemployment is rising. Today, as we speak, from 8.4% in 2016 is now about 14.7% in 2023, or even as we speak now. What can he do in terms of using tourism to be able to create jobs? And then he gave his responses. I wasn't satisfied, but I had to leave it there. Then this issue of the cathedral also was asked. I asked him, the cathedral, the pit, which is the most expensive pit in this world now, has become an albatross around our neck. And it's now under the Ministry of Tourism. I asked what he would do about it.
Ejapamesa.
And it was a little bit difficult for him to, and I can understand where he was coming from. I mean, generally, I do not think that they are performing badly, but it's not only the face-to-face interaction that determines whether somebody be passed or not. We will still have to look at other things. People are bringing some kind of petitions and all of that. If you see these petitions and put them together, it makes sense for you not to pass a particular candidate, the NDC will be able to do that. And if there's nothing like that, we appeal to our people to accept us to also pass them if we don't have anything against them.
All right. So that's it. We have to go.
No, but let just use this opportunity to wish
30 seconds.
The former First Lady, Mrs. Lordina Mahama. Today is her birthday.
Right.
And we
wish her a happy birthday.
We all know what this woman has done to touch the lives of so many people, especially the vulnerable. Children, orphans, and all of. But she has done very well, and I pray that the good Lord will give her long life, give her strength, and bring her back to us as First Lady again.
Thank you. Thank you, Suleimana. Yusuf Suleimana, thank you for joining the conversation. He's Member of Parliament for Bole Bamboy. When